Something really big is happening in the Gulf. Its entire economic future is being rewritten as we speak, and the pen is in the hands of a totally new kind of leader. We're talking about sustainable leadership. And trust me, it's not just another corporate buzzword. It's the new engine of growth for the whole region.
But you have to ask, right? What's really driving this massive shift? Is it just a reaction to global pressure about climate change, or is there something bigger, something more strategic going on? Well, as we're about to see, this is a deeply strategic move, a masterstroke that's all tied up in these ambitious plans for a more diverse and resilient future. And this quote, it just cuts right to the heart of it. This isn't about some feel-good corporate social responsibility project you stick on page 10 of an annual report. No, this is about a complete overhaul of the economic model. It's a strategic pivot designed for long-term survival and, more importantly, growth in a world that's quickly moving past the old ways of doing things.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit. To really get a sense of the scale of this change, you've got to understand the massive shift away from the old hydrocarbon-based economy. This is an entire region hitting the reset button and reinventing itself for a new era.
This slide right here really says it all. The old model was pretty straightforward, right? Rely on hydrocarbons and maybe do a little CSR on the side. The new vision, which is being pushed forward by huge plans like Saudi Vision 2030, is all about diversification. It puts environmental, social, and governance, that's ESG, right at the core of business strategy. The focus is now on long-term resilience, not just short-term profits. So we've been throwing this term around, sustainable leader. But what does it actually mean to be one in this new Gulf economy? I can tell you it's definitely not just a fancy title. It's a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of operating. At its heart, this is the definition. It's about weaving sustainability so deeply into an organization that it becomes part of its DNA. You know, it's a leadership style that doesn't see a fight between making a profit and having a purpose. Instead, it understands that to create real, lasting value, those two things have to be completely intertwined. So how does this actually work in the real world? Well, it really boils down to three key pillars. First, you need a long-term vision. You have to think way beyond the next quarterly report. Second, you have to integrate ESG into every single decision, not just as an afterthought. And finally, there's this sense of intergenerational responsibility, making choices today that aren't just good for us, but for our kids and their kids too. All right, enough with the theory. Let's look at how this is all translating into real action on the ground. Because all across the Gulf, we're seeing these principles spring to life in massive projects and super ambitious corporate strategies. This is where the rubber really meets the road. Let's kick things off with the UAE, which has really positioned itself as a trailblazer in the region when it comes to sustainability. With a huge commitment like their Net Zero 2050 plan, the nation has set this incredibly bold vision that companies are now running with. And a prime example is Masdar, Abu Dhabi's future energy company. I mean, just look at these numbers. They're absolutely mind-boggling. Over 50 gigawatts of renewable capacity, huge green finance vehicles. These are not small steps. This is a giant leap toward turning the UAE into a global renewables powerhouse. Okay, now let's hop over to Saudi Arabia. Here, sustainability is a flat-out cornerstone of their massive economic plan, Vision 2030. For them, sustainable leadership isn't just a nice-to-have environmental goal, it's a critical tool for building a thriving post-oil economy. And you can see the action everywhere you look. Saudi Arabia is shooting for 50% renewable energy by 2030. You've got these incredible mega projects like NEOM, which includes the world's largest green hydrogen plant. Then you have giants like Aramco focusing on decarbonization and Aqua Power leading the way on transparent ESG reporting. It's a total top-to-bottom commitment. And then you have Bahrain, which is tackling a different but absolutely crucial piece of the sustainability puzzle, the money. I mean, this whole green transition costs a lot, and Bahrain is positioning itself as the financial hub to make it all happen.
What's happening in Bahrain is a fantastic example of finance and industry working hand in hand. You've got the Bahrain Bourse setting the gold standard for sustainable stock exchanges. And at the same time, you have huge industrial players like Alba pouring money into things like energy efficiency and on-site solar. It's this two-pronged attack that's really working. So all of this leads to a super critical takeaway. Sustainable leadership isn't just about ethics or doing the right thing. It is a powerful, smart business strategy.
there's a really compelling case for why this approach creates incredible value for companies in the region. So if you're a leader listening to this, you might be thinking, okay, this is great, but how do I actually do it? Well, this framework is basically the roadmap. You start by setting up clear governance, like an ESG committee. Then, you absolutely need buy-in from senior management. Third, you line up your company's goals with the big national visions. Fourth, you track everything with KPIs, key performance indicators. And finally, you have to engage with everyone, your customers, your suppliers, your communities. And when companies actually follow this playbook, the benefits are just massive. You can see it right here on the chart. It's a triple win. You become way more competitive, you're much better prepared for future risks, and you basically become a magnet for the best talent out there. It's not just good for the planet, it is fantastic for the bottom line.
All right, let's wrap things up by looking ahead. The journey toward a sustainable future in the GCC is well underway, but the landscape is always changing, always being reshaped by these powerful global and regional forces.
And look, the road ahead isn't going to be easy. Leaders are going to have to juggle everything from the rapid rise of AI and tougher climate rules to more and more pressure from investors demanding transparency. And that's all on top of the very real physical risks from climate change and the constant chaos of geopolitics. So, we'll leave you with this one final thought. The Gulf's transformation, it isn't coming, it's happening right now. The real question isn't if it will happen, but who is going to lead it. The companies that figure out how to develop leaders who can blend profit with purpose and innovation with responsibility, well, they won't just survive this new era, they'll be the ones who actually get to shape it.